Hey, so I just finished playing Graveyard Keeper, and if I should try to sell it, it's like Stardew Valley, but bigger. I feel it's way bigger with more systems. It's kind of like Factorio actually, with the way it. Mm, let's wait about that. It's kind of like Factorio, but with a story and an ending, and that's always appreciated. Um, so in that way, it's kind of like Subnautica, and like Subnautica, um, I don't want to spoil much of it. Um, it is the most fun when you experience and discover the things, the mechanics, the depths, the everything in your own pace and on your own. It is a pixel art, is I think is the term for it, and I thought it was okay pixel art. I can be a little bit let's not say allergic, but I'm not always a big fan of pixel art or games with the pixel art style. But here with Graveyard Keeper, um, I thought it was good. Was okay. Like it might even be a good idea for some of the things you do. Let's say something like Owlboy is also perfectly fine and acceptable to me. So yeah. So given that Graveyard Keeper does have a story, uh, what can I say about the story is that it had funny moments. It's all delivered in text. Um, no, excuse me. There's no dialogue. It's just like word or noises. So it go like bibbidi 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 bib, and then the text appears. But it had funny moment, and the story was decent. I wasn't really in the 100% with it. I wasn't engulfed, or what do you want to say, or wasn't completely immersed with the story, but it was fine, and it leads into some missions or task, what you want to call it, things to do, and so that was nice. In Graveyard Keeper, um, you have a 6-day cycle system, which means that different things are available to do on different days, and that can slow the game down a bit. You can miss some things. Wasn't always a big fan of it. You can skip a little bit of time by sleeping, but if there was something you had to do and the days just passed, you are in for some waiting. And waiting or just bumbling around is kind of like the name of the game, even though the name of the game is Graveyard Keeper. But the game is slow in the beginning, both with what you can do and what it tells you to do and what you might find fun to do or want to do. Whereas I thought with um, Stardew Valley, a lot faster you get into what we call a gameplay loop. You get things to do. You can see, okay, this is what I'm gonna do. This is what I'm gonna spend most of the game on. It takes a long time. I think like hours, 8 maybe. It feels like a long time, and I think it is a long time. I think it's too long for the game to begin to sink its teeth in for you to get hooked. Um, so I wish there was something they could do about that. In the beginning, every task seems sort of big, as in as in you're very slow to do them, or you make very little progress, and you might feel like you're not doing some any progress at all, like you would be nickel down of dime. Let's say you can sell something for 1 silver and 50 copper, but then in order to do that, you need to spend 30 copper on materials, or then maybe 20 copper on taxes, and then by the end of the day, you make maybe 1 silver, or you make 80 coppers. So in the beginning, things are very slow, and that almost took it took me some effort to get over that hump. There is a hump, and once you get over it, it gets a lot better. But you will have to stick with it in the beginning for quite a bit of time. You will also make beginner mistakes. That's natural, can't be avoided, but they have too much impact. I feel like in Graveyard Keeper, like you will invest time or mostly resources into something, and then you'll realize I did realize that, oh, I can't use that until much later, or this is not strictly needed now. There was something else I should have prioritized. And they hit harder, I feel like, in Graveyard Keeper than in any other game that I can remember playing than that. So that's also a little better thing you have to go through. But of course, it's when with a game with this system of this type, it can't be avoided. Especially in the beginning, you don't have energy. Like you use energy to do things, not to walk, but you do use energy to do things. And in the beginning, you are still talking like the first 8 hours or something. You run out of energy a lot, and you run out of energy like fast. And the only way you can really regain them in the beginning is that you sleep. So you sleep a lot. That also means that you're more likely to miss days or miss events, and you don't feel like you get a lot of things done, or you both with the missions or the stories, but also just in general on your graveyard. As I said, you also have very little money in the beginning, or very few and not very effective way of making any money, or other resources. So in the beginning, I feel like some updates and restrictions are not, they're not placed very well, and they feel like punishment. For instance, there was one resource that I was used to getting, but then when I got a little effective at using that resource, another system popped and said, "Oh, now you have to use another system or another resource to get the first resource that you're used to getting for free." And so it feels a bit like punishment or setbacks that you have to get through before it eventually becomes negligible, immaterial, where like, oh, this is nothing, I have plenty of those resources. But in the beginning you don't, and then it feels like a big setback and almost discouraging, saying, oh, I should not have progressed this way. I wish I knew that, so I had avoided that, but that's how the game works. But eventually you will get over, like I said, the initial hump, and the game opens up, and it opens up quite a lot. As I said, it is significant bigger than Stardew Valley. At least it feels like that to me. Unfortunately, this game doesn't have co-op actually. Stardew Valley added that later. That could have been nice. The game opens up, and you are free to explore the different resources and things to do, and you are quite free. I feel like the game is could have been better. It's not too good. It could have been better at telling you what you need to do, or give suggestions of what you could do. It has those missions as part of the story, but they are usually just like skips a lot. So you will get a mission to be like, give me this thing, but then this thing, if you look at it or find out what it actually is, or what it would take to craft or get that thing, you'll be like, okay, I need a whole lot of other things before I can even start to pursue that. And the way that this is going, or this is designed, also meant that I end up looking at wikis, at Wikipedias or other sites and resources a lot. And I feel like whenever you have to do that in a game, that's not a good thing. That's a bit of a failure in the design, because those wikis are very straight to the point. So they'll take out all the magic. They'll take out most of the frustration and unknown, but they'll also spoil things just with the other things related to it. Um, so that part could have been better, and I hope you can appreciate that. As usual, I'm trying not to spoil the experience too much, just trying to let you know what you're getting into. And I do think you should get into it, yeah, but you need to get over that hump. But I recommend the game. I thought it was fun. Um, but I had to look up a lot of the things on a wiki, and you will need to, like, say for instance, there's nothing you can say skip or say I'm not interested in that part, because the story and the items are made in a way that everything is more or less mandatory at some point. You will need to do that thing or go that place. The game has no way to remember recipes or for you to pin if you play Subnautica or make like a little checklist. So I end up taking notes or screenshots. Actually, what I'm saying is like um, that you can go somewhere and at that location you'll be like, oh, you need to bring this amount of different items, and then you'll go back or you'll go get those items, but you can't remember if it was like 8 of those or was it 10 of those. Was it the blue type or the red type, or was it the normal type or the advanced types or whatever? Because you will have a lot of scatterbrain in this game in general. So there's no way to remember those. So I had to take notes and screenshots. Otherwise, you'll forget. I mean, even I forgot, or not even I forgot too a lot. Like, what was I doing? So I was standing there with some items and being, what did I want to make with those? So it's you'll have a lot of scatterbrains when you're playing this game. I don't think it can be avoided. There is some system with like shared inventory, or where you have like inventory in certain locations where specific items are, or specific resources are more common or more needed, and that works okay, but it's not perfect. Like you can take out of them, um, you can take out pretty much everywhere, but it can be difficult to put back in. Um, so it's like half and half. I'm glad it was there anyway. Um, you have some freedom in the game. When I'm talking about um, like structures or things you wanna pursue, you do have some freedom, but big things are planned out. So let's say in Stardew Valley, if you wanted to focus on cows, you could do that, and really convey your whole farm into a big cow pen and have lots of cows. But you could also convert it into something else. That is not as much the case with Graveyard Keeper. You get set amount of things that you can build places or have places, and you'll be like, okay, this goes here and this goes there, and this is how it works. So you're a little bit set. It's fine as a thing um, to get things sorted, to make sure that you have what you need. Unlike say Factorio, if I wanted to build a lot of one structure because I wanted to focus on that thing, you don't really have that option here in Graveyard Keeper. At some point when playing Graveyard Keeper, and I suspect you will too, I hit a wall, as in I needed something that I could only get from buying it. I needed a certain amount of money, and I was making very little money, and really didn't have a lot of things to change relative fast to make more money. So, like, say for instance, Factorio, what I ended up doing was I let the computer run for a whole day. I went out with some friends for a tapas restaurant that turned out to be fully booked, so we did something else. It was still good. And then I came back and I was like 2/3 or 3/4 of the way there with the money after having left the computer for like, I don't know, 12 hours. So so that's an option. You can do that. I'm not sure. I, yeah, maybe I just ignored some things, or was, yeah, as I said, beginner mistakes. I was doing something. I was nowhere near getting those kind of money, but um, that was an option. I just thought I'll let you know. Again, trying not to spoil, but let's say there's like three um, types of experience that your character can have that can help with progress. Um, and I was starving for one of them for quite a bit of time, and I suspect you will too. Where the other one you might starve a little, then not, and then maybe again, and the third one it will quickly just become nothing. So the one that is difficult to get um, will have a big influence on what sort of technologies or what you can do. And at some point, just to get that technology, I was building things that will give me that technology. I was doing things that would give me that experience, just to undo it and destroy the things again. And that felt stupid, honestly. That felt weird. I was that felt like something where I would go, I I should not be doing this. There could have been something cooler or something else. So I guess I'm saying look out for that as well when you're playing. Near the end, where a lot of the resources are, uh, no big issues, and I just wanted to wrap up the story and finish my missions. You'll hit that six day counter because you'll have to wait. So there's a lot of waiting at the end actually when you're like, oh, I can get you lots of that easy. I can quickly go there, or I can do that with no problem. But you'll have to wait because certain characters are only available on certain days, and there are 6 days in a week in Graveyard Keeper, and they rotate at the same speed pretty much no matter what else you do. You can sleep to speed it up a little bit. Um, so it's a bit weird when at the end when you'll be like, yes, let's finish. Things slow down again. Um, but I did enjoy the game, even though I had all this to say. I can recommend it if this is the type of game. Like if you played Stardew Valley, this is kind of like a logical successor. It's, as I said, more or less the same with style, a bit different with different things, but very much in the same way. Or Factorio with a lot less creative optimization. Like there's no conveyor belts, but you have that sense of growing and exploration, and eventually conquering your environment, which I think was like the core feeling in Subnautica, and why I like that game, and it stuck with me a lot, as you can tell. I'm mentioning it all the time. So if any of those games are your type of games, your cup of tea, is what you fancy, I have no problem recommending Graveyard Keeper. I thought you should know that. It's also often on sale, so as what was it, like at the price of a sandwich, if that's your measuring stick. Um, yeah, you can definitely come within that for Graveyard Keeper, and I think it's worth it. If you beware of the hump, but other than that, yeah, you'll have fun with it. I did. I can recommend it, and nothing more to say. Other than thank you for stopping by today.